Ralph Sampson was supposed to be an NBA superstar, and he was supposed to carry the Rockets franchise into prominence along with Hakeem Olajuwon. But Ralph Sampson's career ended prematurely due to injury, just like many other NBA stars like Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, and Derrick Rose. And because of this, the Houston Rockets franchise suffered throughout the late 80s and early 90s until in 1994 and 1995, Hakeem Olajuwon was able to will the Rockets to back-to-back NBA championships. But what if I told you that none of this could have happened? Because exactly 1 year after Ralph Sampson was drafted and a few months after he had just came off one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time, where he won unanimous Rookie of the Year, the Portland Trail Blazers offered the Rockets an offer that could have changed the NBA forever. It was Clyde Drexler and the number 2 pick in the 1984 draft for Ralph Sampson. The Rockets had just selected Hakeem Olajuwon number 1 overall, and they planned to pair him with Ralph Sampson. But like I previously mentioned, Ralph Sampson's career ended prematurely due to injury. But if they made this trade, they would have paired Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon together over a decade before they were paired together in real life, which would have let them play together in their primes. And they would have also gotten the 2nd overall pick in one of the most stacked draft classes of all time. And according to Hakeem Olajuwon, with the 2nd overall pick, they would have selected Michael Jordan. This would have formed one of the greatest super teams of all time, and many predict that this Rockets team would have won 10-plus NBA championships. Now that is absolutely crazy. So, yeah, let's go back to 1984 and see what would have happened if this trade actually happened. Since Michael Jordan is no longer on the board, the Chicago Bulls select a huge bust in Sam Bowie with the 3rd overall pick in the 1984 draft. During the 1984-85 season, the Portland Trail Blazers win 48 games instead of 42 games like they did in real life, because they now have Ralph Sampson instead of Clyde Drexler. And since Sampson's injuries haven't came into play yet, he is still better than Clyde Drexler. So the Blazers actually improve. The Houston Rockets win 56 wins, which is 8 more games than they won in real life, because Clyde Drexler breaks out, and Michael Jordan as well as Hakeem Olajuwon have 2 of the greatest rookie seasons of all time. The Chicago Bulls also win only 31 games and miss the playoffs because Sam Bowie is nowhere as near as good of a rookie as Michael Jordan was. Nothing really changes in the playoffs except for one big thing. The Rockets now make the conference finals because they have 3 really good young stars. But they're not experienced enough to take on the Los Angeles Lakers yet, so they lose in 6 games. But in their first year together, the Rockets have done some incredible things, and they look like a future dynasty already. All of the awards stay the same, and the Lakers still win the championship over the Boston Celtics. 3 major changes happened in the 1985 draft. First, Charles Oakley now goes to the Atlanta Hawks. Chris Mullin goes to the Chicago Bulls. This last one is a huge change. Joe Dumars is no longer a Detroit Piston, but gets selected by the Boston Celtics. Yes, so the Celtics that were just in the NBA Finals get another Hall of Famer to add to their already incredible team. That is going to be a major change, and the Celtics might continue their dominance from the 1980s all the way into the 90s because of this. At the beginning of the regular season, Michael Jordan suffers a major injury and misses most of the regular season, but the Houston Rockets still win 56 games because Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon have amazing seasons. In real life, the Boston Celtics won 67 games in this year. Due to the addition of Joe Dumars, they win 71 games, become the first 70-win team in NBA history, and break the wins record. In this what-if scenario, the Chicago Bulls didn't get Michael Jordan, but they did get Chris Mullin, and that might seem like a massive downgrade, and it is, but it's definitely not as big as it was in real life, because in this what-if scenario, Chris Mullin is incredible. And that's because in real life, the Warriors didn't really give him that much of an opportunity, and they actually played him off the bench. But in this scenario, the Bulls don't have anyone else that has any value to them, so they give Chris Mullin the keys to the offense in his rookie season, and they let him take as many shots as he wants. So he averages an insane 27 points per game as a rookie, and leads the Bulls to 35 wins, and also takes home Rookie of the Year over Patrick Ewing. What? So even though the Bulls didn't get Michael Jordan, it looks like they got a pretty good alternative. The Portland Trailblazers only win 35 games because Ralph Sampson isn't as good as how Clyde Drexler was in real life this season. Michael Jordan is healthy for the playoffs, and he proves that he's a superstar as he averages 40 points per game in the first 3 rounds, and the Rockets don't even lose a single game in the Western Conference. Over in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics also don't lose a single game, and just like in real life, we have a Rockets and Celtics finals. But unlike in real life, the series is actually competitive and it goes 7 games. But in the end, the Celtics are still more experienced than the Rockets, so they win Game 7, and so the Boston Celtics are the 1986 NBA championship, just like in real life. All of the awards stay the same, except, like I mentioned, Rookie of the Year now goes to Chris Mullin. The 1986 draft is pretty much the same, except John Sally now goes to the Chicago Bulls, and Scott Skiles is a Los Angeles Laker. In real life, the Houston Rockets let go of their starting point guard, John Lucas, because he was struggling with substance abuse, and while he did attempt to rehab, he didn't have enough motivation. However, in this alternate universe, I think he would have had a bit more motivation because the Rockets were actually contending for a championship, while in real life, this was the year everything fell apart, and Ralph Sampson got injured, and this is the year that the Rockets just completely fell apart. But they look a lot more promising in this alternate scenario. So let's just say that John Lucas does have enough motivation and successfully completes his rehab. Joe Dumars helps the Boston Celtics win 65 games, which is 6 more than real life, and they are still the 1 seed. And without Dumars, the Detroit Pistons only win 44 games. Charles Oakley's defense helps Dominique Wilkins and the Atlanta Hawks win 61 games, which is 4 more than they did in real life. The Portland Trailblazers start to struggle as Ralph Sampson's injuries start to kick in, and they only win 41 games. In real life, John Lucas had the best season of his career, in which he averaged 20 points and 8 assists for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now that he's on this super stacked Houston Rockets team, he doesn't average 20 points. He only averaged 15 points. But those 8 assists become 13 assists because now instead of being on an okay Bucks roster, he's on one of the best teams in the league. So he averages 15 points and 13 assists, which, by the way, is the best in the league. And he becomes the 4th All-Star on the Houston Rockets. Remember how I said the Boston Celtics have the wins record? Well, not anymore, because the Houston Rockets win 75 games and break the Celtics win record after just one season, because now, along with their insane big three, they also have a 4th star in John Lucas. So, because they won 75 games and Michael Jordan averages 36 points per game, he wins MVP over Magic Johnson. Once again, Chris Mullin has a great season, and he averages 29 points per game, and once again leads the Chicago Bulls to the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. So, in the playoffs, the Houston Rockets absolutely dominate. They only lose 3 games in the entire playoffs, and they go 15-3, and they beat the Boston Celtics in 5 games in the NBA Finals. So the Houston Rockets win their first championship 7 years before they did in real life. And the Houston Rockets dynasty officially begins. All of the awards are the same, except Michael Jordan is now the MVP over Magic Johnson. The Supersonics select Horace Grant with the 11th pick. The Bulls get Chris Mullin as co-star by selecting Reggie Miller with the 10th pick. The Bulls still trade Olden Polynice for Scottie Pippen, and this gives them a really nice young trio of Reggie Miller, Chris Mullin, and Scottie Pippen. The Pacers are no longer able to select Reggie Miller, and the Rockets no longer have to trade for Cedric Maxwell since they already have 2 really good wings. So the Pacers trade for Cedric Maxwell from the Clippers instead of the Rockets. The Bulls' young core wins 48 games, and Reggie Miller and Scottie Pippen have much better rookie seasons than they did in real life, because Scottie Pippen is now playing point guard due to the shooting guard and small forward positions already being filled up by Reggie Miller and Chris Mullin. And so Scottie Pippen flourishes at the point guard position and starts drawing comparisons to Magic Johnson as a rookie. And Reggie Miller plays much better than he did in real life, because in real life for the Pacers he was coming off the bench, but for the Bulls he's the starting shooting guard and is getting a lot more touches and minutes. So because of that, Scottie Pippen and Reggie Miller win co-rookie of the year for the Chicago Bulls. The Celtics win 64 games as they start relying more and more on Joe Dumars, and the Pistons lose 12 more games than they did in real life, and they only win 42 games without Joe Dumars, so it doesn't look like they'll be winning their 2 championships in this alternate universe. The Atlanta Hawks win 55 games as Charles Oakley's defense helps Dominique Wilkins lead the Hawks to a much better record than in real life. And the Rockets break their wins record after just 1 season and win 76 games. The Portland Trailblazers desperately need a shooting guard, so they move their 6'9" small forward, Kiki Vandeweghe, down to shooting guard, and this helps him tremendously, because in real life, he was having a lot of trouble with the physicality of the small forward position, and he got injured. But in this alternate universe, he is now playing a much less big position, and because of that, he is able to dominate, because the defense isn't as strong at the shooting guard position, and he has a huge size advantage over the other shooting guards. So he averages 33 points per game and leads the Portland Trailblazers to 51 wins. In the playoffs, nothing really changes except the Hawks now make it to the conference finals instead of the Pistons, and the Rockets go 15-1 in the playoffs, winning their 2nd straight championship and sweeping the Celtics in the finals. All of the awards are the same, except Rookie of the Year is now a co-Rookie of the Year between Reggie Miller and Scottie Pippen. In the 1988 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Danny Manning. Dan Majerle goes to the Bucks, and Mitch Richmond becomes a Clipper. The Bulls win 50 games, which is 3 more than in real life, because while in real life they had Michael Jordan, in this new universe they have a bunch of stars instead of just one. And speaking of those stars, Chris Mullin takes another step and starts averaging 36 points per game and gets some MVP votes. Bird, McHale, and Parrish regress a lot, but the Celtics are still a good team because Joe Dumars leads them to 53 wins and is now the clear face of the Celtics franchise. Mitch Richmond has a monster rookie season on the Clippers and looks like a future superstar. Dominique Wilkins leads the Hawks to 58 wins with the help of Moses Malone and Charles Oakley. Kiki Vandeweghe misses most of the season due to injury, and because of this, at the trade deadline, the Blazers trade him to the Knicks for basically nothing. The Pacers only win 20 games since they don't have Reggie Miller. The Warriors only win 19 games without Chris Mullin or Mitch Richmond. The Pistons are the 5 seed instead of the 1 seed because they don't have Joe Dumars. The Rockets win 74 games and Jordan gets his 3rd straight MVP. The Rockets go 16-0 in the playoffs, becoming the first team in NBA history to do so, and they complete their three-peat. All of the awards are the same except Michael Jordan wins MVP. In the 1989 draft, Purvis Ellison goes to the Nets. The Pacers get Sean Elliott. Tim Hardaway goes to the Nuggets. The Bulls get Sean Kemp. The Sonics get B.J. Armstrong. And Vlade Divac goes to the Hawks. Dan Majerle leads the Bucks to 52 wins. The Bulls win 67 games, and for the first time in 3 years, Michael Jordan doesn't win the MVP, as it goes to Chris Mullin, who averaged 36 points per game. The Rockets win 71 games. The Celtics win 64 games, led by Joe Dumars. Kiki Vandeweghe and Patrick Ewing lead the Knicks to 63 wins. Dominique Wilkins leads the Hawks to 53 wins with the help of Moses Malone, Charles Oakley, and Vlade Divac. Without Dumars, the Pistons only win 44 games. The Pacers only win 34 games and miss the playoffs without Reggie Miller. The Warriors win only 24 games without Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway, or Mitch Richmond. The Supersonics are able to win 8 more games than in real life because they have Horace Grant. The Blazers only win 39 games and miss the playoffs without Clyde Drexler. The Bulls make it to the finals, and so do the Rockets. The series is very close as it goes to 7 games, and in Game 7, Michael Jordan goes off for 50 points, and the Rockets win their 4th straight NBA title. So that's it for part 1 of What If the Houston Rockets traded for Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler. If you liked it, be sure to like the video. Also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can see more of this type of content. Anyways, that's it, so bye!